Surprise, surprise, surprise. Ah, oh man. So I'm back again, and y'all know I had to come back for this one here because this is some crazy tidbits that have been going on the last 48 hours since I did that last stream. So I had to come out here and give some more gospel. You know what I mean? I had to do it. It needed to be done. And yeah. So where do I actually start? First of all, I need to make sure my mic is good. Is the mic working? Is the mic good? Can y'all hear me well? Because I don't want y'all to miss none of this gospel. Yeah, I don't want y'all to miss none of what's about to be said up in here today. We got to put some people in their place. We got to go ahead and hand out some congratulations and, you know, some pats on the back and tipping our hat and all that type of stuff there. But we also got to we got to humble some people. You know what I mean? We got to humble some people because some people need to be humbled very badly. So with that being said, I think it's only right that I start off with the first thing I saw that kind of needs to be addressed. And I thought it was quite hilarious because it obviously shouldn't have never been taken to that level of, you know, seriousness, but it was taking that level of seriousness. So we're going to talk about, you know, Sony attacks on Nintendo. Attacks, yes, plural, because there's been many of them over the last 6 months, but this last one really made me have to come out and say something. We're going to go over the NPD sales for the June 2023, which is some very interesting stuff there. We're going to talk about the GOAT, the 2023 Game of the Year, The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, and the records it broke. We're also going to talk about the Nintendo financials and the sales update they just released. I think it was today. So it's a lot of sales news we got to go over because there's a lot of interesting things in there. We're also going to talk about the update million sellers list, which is pretty interesting. We finally have the data of every million seller on the Nintendo Switch that is from first party, which is basically developed or published by Nintendo. Yes, that list has finally out, and it's some interesting stuff on that list. So we definitely got to deep dive in that list, you know, and dissect this and really, you know, make some people eat crow that talked a lot of garbage back in the past. So it's I'm very excited to I'm very excited to go over this. You know what I mean? So without further ado, let's talk about Sony. And let's talk about how they've been acting over the last few months. You know what I mean? That's the first thing. So the first things first is we got to go over is this little tidbit here. Now, this little tidbit here, it's very interesting because I was only made aware of this situation a couple of days ago. But I want to back up before we go over this this particular game here and this headline you see here in front of you. Before we go over that, I want to back up and talk about the various comments that Sony has been making towards Nintendo, which is kind of asinine and ridiculous. It's kind of contradictory, and to be honest with you, they kind of just contradict themselves all the time whenever they open their mouth. Not only have they been crying about Microsoft and the whole Activision acquisition to the FTC and everybody else abroad, crying left and right while still simultaneously trying to beat your chest and call yourselves the market leader, then you shouldn't be worried about what your competitors are doing. But that's not what Sony does. Sony obviously worries about what both of their competitors are doing because they have the most comments the most shady, slimy comments to say about both of their competitors, Microsoft and Nintendo, all the time. You really don't hear Nintendo comment about Sony much often at all. You really don't hear Microsoft comment about Sony much at all, unless they're provoked first. Keyword, unless they are provoked first, they really don't say anything about Sony. Sony just is an insecure company, and I really don't understand why. Matter of fact, I'm gonna take that back. I understand why they're an insecure company, but I don't understand why they're insecure in the situation is actually good for them at the moment. I understand that what happened with the PS3 made you a little bit insecure, and you understood that you are not an undefeatable, entity. But to be this insecure into this is their fifth generation of being a console manufacturer, it's really ridiculous. So we're not going to talk about the comments they made about The Legend of Zelda. We don't need to talk about that. We don't want to talk about the comments where they said Nintendo is not a competitor, which is absolutely ridiculous, which makes this headline here that you see on your screen even more funny. We're not going to talk about the comments where, they didn't consider Microsoft a competitor, but they cried endlessly, and Jim Ryan cried endlessly about Microsoft acquiring Activision. I never seen anybody that claims they're not bothered or worried about anybody else, but cries and whines the most than anybody else about the said people they're not worried about. Which brings me to this situation here. I've heard of this game called The Last Hope. Apparently, there's this developer that's been releasing games on the eShop that's been blatantly trying to get people of certain audience to buy their games. And The Last Hope was the one that got the most attention, even though they had one that actually they released previously that had the words Call of Duty in the game title, which I think is hilarious. You know what I mean? So I forgot the name of this developer. I think it's Limited West Games or something like that. Y'all can look it up. But their catalog is filled with games where they're trying to basically gain the audience of specific titles that's already out and popular. They're a small little independent studio. They use the Unity engine on their games. It's basically cheap crap shovelware that's, pennies on a dollar worth anything that be on, eShop and stuff like that. So it got viral for a while because people tried to call it a Last of Us clone. And that just got me laughing because words don't have any definition or meaning anymore in 2023. Because for something to be a clone, there has to be something that's blatantly copied from the other game. And I went and I finally looked at this game, and I looked at the Digital Foundry video of the game. And if it's not the most delusional claim of something being a clone I ever seen in my life, I don't know what is. I think they just took this opportunity to try to basically beat their chest about Sony and their exclusive IPs when it came to this game. The only thing this game takes from The Last of Us is basically trying to copy its title of the game. Similar to what they did with their Call of Duty shooter type game by putting the words Call of Duty in the title of their game. So it's hilarious to me because Sony got so offended by The Last Hope, which Digital Foundry claims is the worst game ever made and the worst game of the year. And that's the only Digital Foundry video I would recommend any of you actually go watch. You need to go watch it because it makes this copyright claim from Sony to Nintendo even more hilarious. Because once I seen this headline and they struck down this game to get it removed off of the eShop and to get the trailers removed off of the internet, I had to go watch this. I had to go watch it because I was like, okay, this must be like a blatant ripoff of The Last of Us. And upon investigating this and watching that Digital Foundry video, it's really hilarious to me because The Last Hope literally has nothing in common with The Last of Us. Nothing. The gameplay is absolutely horrid. There's no gameplay mechanics that are similar. There's no characters that are similar. There's no atmosphere that is similar. The world is definitely nowhere near similar. There's no similarity whatsoever between The Last Hope and The Last of Us besides the goddamn game being called The Last Hope. That is it. So how do you get that bit out of shape to the point that you send your lawyers to copyright strike and threaten Nintendo to the point they had to remove this piece of crap game, which they probably didn't even know existed? This is what The Last Hope looks like, y'all. This is what makes this the most hilarious to me, because this is what this thing looked like. You know what I mean? This is a screenshot on the screen that you see. The man looks nothing like Joel. That girl looks nothing like Ellie. As you can see with the world, it definitely don't look anything like the game. And this one here made it even more hilarious to me. And this is another headline where, you know, it's like, come on, are we really reaching here? Like, these it's so awfully bad that it's hilarious that Sony got triggered into striking this game down. There's nothing similar to this. And this one got even more hilarious here. I got to show you this one. Now this one, like, come on, people. Like this is what you sent your lawyers out to strike down. Like, I have never seen a company to be so damn insecure in my life. Like, what are you worried about? What made you want to actually go out and get this game strike down? This game plays nothing like The Last of Us, looks nothing like The Last of Us, takes nothing from The Last of Us. The game literally does not have even voice acting or a soundtrack or music. That's how terrible this game is. It's like, I'm laughing at this because this is the same company that decided to copy Nintendo on the whole damn movement when it came to motion controls, and copy Nintendo on their own games, like, you know, PlayStation All-Stars, aka a direct ripoff of Smash Brothers. But you get sensitive over somebody basically copying your font off of your game. That's hilarious to me. Like, what are we doing, bro? Like, where in here does this game look like anything like this game? It doesn't play anything like it. Like I said, y'all need to go up and look up this game and look at it, because it's absolutely hilarious that to the point that they wanted to strike this game down. You know what I mean? It's like it did nothing to hurt The Last of Us. It didn't. If it did anything, it probably helped your franchise, because if somebody was really trying to capitalize off The Last of Us and basically copying the font of the game, it's like, I would be flattered, to be honest with you, if I was them. It's hilarious to me. It's like, I don't know how somebody in a company, in a big corporation like Sony, can look at this and says, you know what, we need to go send our gang of lawyers. We got to stop Nintendo from what they're doing. It's like, what the, bruh? You are the company that copy the people the most, and is blatantly copying people the most. Soon as somebody copy the font of one of your games, one of your interactive movies, you act the ass. Which furthermore tells me that you need to hold this L, because obviously you see Nintendo as a competitor. To the point that you thought this Last of Us quote unquote clone, or wannabe perceived clone, to the point that you had to strike it down and get it removed. That's hilarious to me, because I know a company that considers nobody competition at all whatsoever, and a company that's only driven towards kids. That's what they say. And a company that absolutely targets totally different audience out of Sony's mouth. That's what they're saying. To the point that I had to go and strike this game down. Y'all petty. Y'all petty, insecure, bruh. It just don't make no sense. I mean, look at this shit. Look at this. Look, I mean, come on, my guy. Like, come on, man. Like, I got to do the bootsy, man. Come on now, dog. Come on, man. Like, this was not even worth reacting to, but y'all did anyway. So I'm gonna rest my case. You know what? Hold this L, cause y'all some petty ass little bitches, man. This is why I can't stand this company. They're some petty ass little bitches, man. That don't make no sense. But after I hold y'all L for you, and delivered it to you, I have to go ahead and give y'all W that y'all received the other day. PlayStation 5 has definitely sold 40 million units. Gotta give them congratulations for that. I mean, that's I think that's on track to be just like the PS4, if I'm not mistaken, from what they said. And I gotta give them a golf clap for that. I think that's really interesting. I think that's really dope, especially how these consoles started out with the hardware not being readily available for everybody to come get and all these things. So, they sold 40 million units, 40 million consoles sold. That's great. We have no idea what the Xbox Series X has sold, which is not great. Microsoft need to come off the numbers, but they haven't shared numbers in a very long time. Ever since the launch of the Xbox One, we have not heard one number whatsoever, man. So that's a weird situation there. Even though Xbox was doing pretty decent, the Series X was doing pretty decent, but I don't know why they don't show these numbers. Microsoft, get it together, man. Get it together. We need these numbers, man. We need to know what's really going on. We got to see these numbers. Y'all got to bring them out. You feel what I'm saying? So, congrats to Sony. I give you a little golf clap. Give you that little golf clap. You sold 40 million consoles. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's that's pretty good considering where it started for this generation with the Xbox Series X and the PS5. I guess that's pretty good because nobody could get their hands on one. They wasn't really moving that well. So, and you definitely had no games. They definitely had no games for any of these systems out. Which brings us to the next thing, which is the NPD for June 2023. That's what it brings us to. Now, I told everybody there was no reason to buy a Series X, an Xbox Series X. There was no reason to buy a PS5. At that point, you was just buying a new console just to play old games. But that all changed in June. And I was telling people it was all going to change in June. And voila, it did. PS5 was the number one best-selling system for June in 2023 in America for the NPD. And as you can see with the top 3 games, all 3 of those games, Diablo 4, Final Fantasy 16, and Street Fighter 6, all on next generation consoles. How about that? How about when you actually start releasing games that are dedicated strictly for the next generation consoles, the consoles start moving again. And then what's really interesting about this top 10, we got Tears of the Kingdom still going strong at number 4, Hogwarts Legacy, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2, Jedi Survivor. I have no idea why people are still playing that. MLB The Show, and look at this: Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man from PS4. So, with that, you can definitely tell that exclusive content moves hardware. People seem to still be in denial about that for some reason, even though it's been proven generation after generation after generation. You can obviously tell that Final Fantasy 16 being exclusive for the PS5 moved PS5 units. Why? Because all these other PlayStation exclusives, I put that in the quotation mark because they're not really exclusive, All these PlayStation console exclusives started showing back up in the top 10. Both Spider-Man games sold in the top 10. So that means people actually went out and bought a system to play Street Fighter 6 and Final Fantasy 16. But while they did that, they picked up other games, being the two Spider-Man games. So consoles are, exclusive are still king, y'all. It's still king. Exclusive are still king. They're still going to be system sellers that they are. If anybody's still in denial about that, you're tripping. Switch was the number 2 best-selling console for June, with Xbox coming in third. So we really didn't get how much of a gap it was, but I wish NPD still give out numbers, but they don't give out numbers anymore. Tough titty. I wish they still give out numbers, but they don't. But what I really like about that is how Tears of the Kingdom is doing something incredible. And that is why we need to segue into the next thing we need to talk about, which is exclusives are still king. Because what Tears of the Kingdom was able to accomplish is absolutely incredible. Incredible in the sense that a lot of people just really didn't think Tears of the Kingdom was going to do all that well. A lot of people really didn't think that Tears of the Kingdom was going to be able to outdo Breath of the Wild. A lot of people really thought Tears of the Kingdom was going to suffer, which is stupid. I don't know why Tears of the Kingdom would suffer when it's releasing, when there's over 100 million Switches out there versus when Breath of the Wild came out and it was a launch title. But Tears of the Kingdom did something very, very cool. It sold 18 million copies in under 2 months. I need y'all to take that in right now. I need that to let that marinate for you for a second. 18 million in less than 2 months. This is coming from Nintendo in their financials that they released this morning. So this is for how much Tears of the Kingdom has sold as of June 30th, 2023. The game came out May 12th, 2023. From May 12th to June 30th, Tears of the Kingdom sold 18 million copies. That is insane. I've never, ever seen any game sell like that before. I think the only game that has a record better than that was, I think the last Pokemon game sold 20 million in that time frame. This game sold 18 million. If you are not understanding now that The Legend of Zelda is the pinnacle of all of gaming at this point, I think this is going to do it for you. Tears of the Kingdom not only sold 10 million in the first 3 days, it damn near sold 10 million more copies in the next 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks that it was out. That is insane. I ain't never seen nothing like this. And instantly it became the second best-selling Zelda game of all time. Right behind, guess what? Breath of the Wild, which is the number 1 best-selling game of all time. To put this in perspective for people, right? Breath of the Wild is currently at 30 million sold. Tears of the Kingdom is at basically 20 million right now because we're in August. This is the end of June. So we're just going to go ahead and round that up to 20 million because that's probably where it is. So Tears of the Kingdom would have sold damn near 90% of Breath of the Wild lifetime sales within only being available for over 2 months. That is crazy. That is insane. Tears of the Kingdom instantly is a top 20 best-selling game on the Nintendo Switch of all time. That is absolutely insane. This is why I tell people that is when it comes to exclusive content, exclusive franchises, right? There's nobody that does better than Nintendo. There's no better first party lineup than Nintendo's first party lineup. The sales, the numbers prove it. The reviews prove it. This is one of the highest reviewed games of all time. This is now going to be one of the best selling games of all time. This is absolutely incredible because who would have ever thought The Legend of Zelda would do numbers like this in the near future? Coming from games like Twilight Princess and The Wind Waker and then Skyward Sword, where we had man, games just do pretty decently. We talking about 4 million, 5 million and above, but the Switch really elevated Zelda to a whole nother level. Them basically becoming the open world kings with Breath of the Wild elevated Zelda to a whole nother level that I don't think anything can stop it at this point. 18 million in under 2 months is just asinine to me. I knew the game did pretty good, judging by the midnight launch I went to. Yes, they had a midnight launch for a video game in multiple stores in my city in Atlanta, and it was for The Legend of Zelda. I've never seen so many people at a midnight launch in the last 6-7 years in my life. And these numbers basically line up to what I was thinking it was probably going to be, because it was really ridiculous. But damn near 20 million, or basically 20 million as of today in August, and only being out on a couple of months in the market is absolutely insane. That's almost more than double the lifetime sales of games that have been out for years. That is insane. That is the power of the Zelda franchise. There's no doubting now what the number one franchise in gaming is. It's definitely The Legend of Zelda. So with that being said, with Link basically breaking records, we have to go to the next thing, which is the best-selling games of Switch all time as of June 30th that Nintendo put out. And this list is pretty interesting. I like this. As you can see, Tears of the Kingdom comes in at number 9 instantly. That's just insane to me. That's crazy to even think about. But here we are. So now, number 1 is interesting because Mario Kart selling 55 million copies is absolutely insane. I remember when Mario Kart first came out on the Wii U in 2014, and they just re-released it, and it just took off. You got Animal Crossing at 40 million, Smash Ultimate, which is the best-selling fighter, at 31. Breath of the Wild is at 30 million. Then Mario Odyssey at 26. These two trash-ass Pokemon games at 25 and 22. Mario Party at 19, and then, Tears of the Kingdom and Super Mario Brothers Deluxe at 16 million. Now, I don't think people can fathom 55 million for Mario Kart 8 is crazy. That game is nearly 10 years old at this point, and it's still trucking along like crazy. I might have to go ahead and say that this is probably the number one racing franchise on the planet now. I have never seen a racer, if somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, has a racing game at any point in time even came close to 50 million sold. I mean, even close. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look that up. What is the best-selling racing game behind Mario Kart 8? I think it's a humongous gap. I've never seen anything like this. This is this is crazy, and it still sells to this day. Which we have to go and look up the top 30 sellers on the NPD, right? Which is crazy. And as you can see, Mario Kart 8 is there at number 12. In a very next-gen heavy month of June, Mario Kart 8 was still selling, outselling games like Resident Evil 4 Remake and God of War Ragnarok and Elden Ring. That piece of shit. Um, it's crazy to me. It's insane. Looking at this top 20, it's cool to see Smash Brothers still in there, but it's just insane that Mario Kart 8 is still there. That's just I don't. It's at this point, it's kind of like Grand Theft Auto to me. When Grand Theft Auto stayed on the chart for so long, for years, it's like who is still buying Grand Theft Auto if you ain't got it by now? Like, who is buying Mario Kart 8? You got to have Mario Kart by this point. I just don't. I don't. It's mind boggling to me that's even a thing. That's crazy to me. So there's your top 10. So that brings me to the other thing, which is Nintendo milestones. The Nintendo Switch has officially sold 130 million consoles. To put that in perspective, we have the top selling consoles of all time right here up on your screen. To put that in perspective, right? Um, and what we're looking at here is in the Switch time frame that it's been out, which is how many years is that now? 6 years officially, 6 years on the market. It was able to sell 130 million consoles worldwide. That's crazy. That's insane to me. Beating out the Wii, the original PlayStation, the PS4, the Game Boy, right on the heels of the Nintendo DS. And of course, that astronomical number by the PS2 doesn't look astronomical anymore. The Switch is going to be the best selling console of all time. There's no doubt now to me. We're at 130 million right now. And there's no doubt that Nintendo can definitely sell another 30 million before the Switch is over with. just 30 million left to the Switch is over. That's that. The PS2 has held that title for so long that people just really thought it was like, okay, this is never going to be beat. It's never going to be beat. But it actually is going to be beat. That's even crazy for me to even fathom, because what drove the PS2 so crazy is because it was basically a DVD player at the time where you really didn't have DVD players in people's house. So it really, the PS2 success really was a benefactor of two things. Obviously the games that came with it. But the number one reason was because it was basically a CD and DVD player. That was the main reason. That was the main reason. It really filled two needs with one purchase for people. That's really what it did. And that's what drove the PS2 sales to be this crazy number, because you basically got a product that serves two things at once, and you didn't have to buy two different products. That's what people bought a PS2 for. A lot of people ain't gonna want to admit that. Yeah, you ended up getting the great library of games as the system went on to live, but that functionality of being a DVD player is what drove that system. That was the primary reason that drove that system. Okay, and that's what people need to understand: is the feature set is always a factor in all these consoles. All you have to do is look at this top seller list of all time right now. It was the feature set that drove a lot of these consoles that you see are the best sellers of all time. The PS2, it was a DVD player. The DS was the first time we had a dual screen anything in gaming. Switch, the first hybrid console, which was definitely needed at this time and age. Game Boy, the first very competent portable system. The PS4, I would say the PS4 feature set. Well, the PlayStation was a CD player, and the Wii U features obviously was motion control gaming at the first time. The PS4 is a little bit of a different situation. I think the PS4, I mean, its feature set was cool. Being a Blu-ray player, but the PS3 was a Blu-ray player too, but they didn't really latch onto that too much. I think it really had to be more of the feature set of it being cheaper than the Xbox One when it first came out. That $600 price tag of Doom really hurt them out in the gate. So, as you can see with this top sellers list, it was really the feature set of what these consoles were, driven by the library that it acquired over the years. And that's what's going to get you far. And notice that on this list, right? On this list, you have 4 Nintendo products, all driven by innovative features. So people need to understand that innovation in the console market is key. It's definitely key. Innovation is key, followed by, the exclusive library and the library of games. Innovation is always going to be key. This is why we're always going to see these Nintendo platforms on this top sellers list all the time. So we're definitely going to see it's for a console to hit 100 million sales is just crazy in its own. That's just crazy. So you have to give props to that, period. That's just insane to even hit 100 million in any type of console. But to do it in the time frame that Switch did is pretty crazy. It's the Switch features, being a hybrid console, that's number one. Being able to play at home and being able to take it on the go. Being a full hybrid home console. And then the crazy library that it has. That's what you need for a console to really, do well and break records. And Switch is going to get that number one spot. I don't have no doubt in my mind Switch is going to get that number one spot, bruh. I don't think it's possible for anybody else to get it, simply because it's going to be that's a hard reach, man. That's a hard reach. It took generations for a console to even challenge this, but we're there. We're finally there. Now, which brings us to what I really want to talk about the most, which is the best sellers list for the Nintendo Switch. The top best sellers on Nintendo Switch. And the total list of 1 million sellers on Nintendo Switch released by Nintendo. All first-party games. So, right now, get your popcorn ready, because all the gospel I've been preaching over the last few years, especially when the Switch came out, is all going to be validated right now. It's all going to be validated right now. After the financial results, we all got an update on the million sellers list for Nintendo Switch. All first-party games, of course. There's going to be no third-party games on here because obviously Nintendo doesn't have that data to give out. So we know about a few first-party games that went over 1 million, like Mortal Kombat 11. I think one of the NBA 2K games, I'm pretty sure it was probably 2K18 that did that, the first one that came out. Those are the two I know for sure because it's actually been commented about publicly. But I think it was some other ones too. I'm not sure. I gotta figure that out. I think The Witcher did pretty well at some point, but I don't think it did 1 million. But these are first-party million-seller games, and there's 62 of them. So that was the first thing that struck me when I found this list, which I'm about to show y'all in a second. There's 62 million-seller games, first-party games on the Switch. That is outstanding. I don't think There's no way Sony and Microsoft have 62 million seller games, first party games on their system. There's no way. It's impossible. They don't have that many franchises. So, without further ado, the list. And the list starts off absolutely incredible because it shows something that I'm very, very, very happy about. Coming in at 62 is Bayonetta 3. I am glad for this. I told people that Bayonetta being Smash Brothers was going to raise her popularity tremendously. And it paid off. It definitely paid off. Bayonetta came out in October, so as of June, Bayonetta has sold over 1 million copies of Bayonetta 3. The fastest selling of all the Bayonetta games. The fastest one to 1 million of all of the Bayonetta games was Bayonetta 3. That includes the releases that released way back on the 360 and PS3. But wait, it gets even better. As you can see, 61, the Metroid Prime Remastered has already sold over 1 million, which is pretty good because we just got confirmation about the sales of Metroid Dread. But we'll get to that in a second. Then, as you can see at 59 and 58, these are Switch sales only, by the way. These are million sellers on Switch only. Developed or published by Nintendo, all first-party games. Bayonetta and Bayonetta 2 both sold over 1.2 million copies each. So, when I told people that Bayonetta was going to do way better on the Nintendo platform than the other platforms, and nobody believed me, and now we're here, and the proof is in the pudding. That is crazy that Bayonetta 2 outperformed the Wii U original release by a huge margin. I think it was over a 60% increase in the sales. And the fact that people bought in to Bayonetta to the point they actually bought the first one along with the second one and then followed up and bought the third one. That is outstanding. I'm very, very happy about that. I'm very, very happy about that. Bringing the total to over 3 million sold for the Bayonetta games on the Switch alone. I'm very happy about that because people really thought these games were going to flop and they didn't. And people really thought people were not going to rebuy the games on the Switch and they did. So kudos to Bayonetta. We love you. That's my girl. And more to come. Now we move up, and I have no idea what 57 is. We're going to go through all 62 of these things. But 56 made me happy because a lot of people didn't believe this game did well. A lot of people did not believe this game did well. Even though Platinum put out a statement saying it was one of their biggest launches ever for a new IP that Platinum Games put out back in 2019, nobody understood and nobody believed it. Astro Chain selling over 1.3 million copies. I'm happy for that. That is an outstanding game. That's one of the best new franchises ever created. I am so happy to see that. So far, the Platinum Nintendo relationship and the Platinum Nintendo tag team works. It works because a lot of people really thought all these games were going to flop and they did. So this is pretty amazing to me. This guarantees I'm going to get my Astro Chain 2. That's the only thing I was really worried about because I really wanted to see Astro Chain become a regular franchise. So we're going to see more Astro Chain. We're going to see more Bayonetta. Platinum Games, obviously, over all the things they released this generation and last generation, this has to be the most software they have sold. This is damn near 5 million. Yeah, this is almost 5 million in software sales on the Switch alone between all three Bayonetta games and Astro Chain. That has to be the most software they sold. There's no way they sold any more software than on any other platform than on the Nintendo platform. So this Platinum Games and Nintendo collaboration is probably going to last for a very, very long time. And Astral Chain was so good. I mean, that's just that game should have been nominated for Game of the Year in 2019. I will die on the hill on that. If you haven't played that game, play it. It's absolutely genre defying. It's very innovative. It's crazy. It shows what Platinum Games can do when they have the full potential and a full budget to do what they do. Bayonetta and Astral Chain are definitely examples of that. Also, Vanquish was an example of that, and Mad World of previous generations on the Wii and the PS3. But I'm happy for this. I'm happy for Platinum Games, and I'm happy for a Bayonetta, and I'm happy for Astral Chain. I'm ready for this. This made me absolutely ecstatic. I'm going to continue one of my favorite franchises, Bayonetta, and I'm going to continue one of my favorite franchises, new franchise in Astral Chain. So as we move up, we got that WarioWare, that Labo garbage. I was really shocked to see that Kirby Return to Dreamland actually sold pretty well on the Switch. And above that, another game people really thought didn't do too well actually did pretty damn great. In Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, with nearly 2 million copies sold. I knew this game did really well because there was too many people playing the damn game. That was number one. There was too many people playing the damn game, and it was definitely a good-ass game. So far, so good with Nintendo in their decisions to invest in certain third-party exclusives. So far, we're 3 for 3. Bayonetta, successful. Astral Chain, successful. Getting Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 exclusive on the Switch, successful. So I'm glad to finally actually have a number for that. And then we got Fire Emblem Engage. That Mario Kart live thing they did, which is crazy. And the Miitopia, I can't believe people bought that. That was crazy. And here we are with Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Gotta give a clap for that. That has to be the fastest selling Xenoblade game. I mean, this is from the launch of Xenoblade Chronicles 3 to June 30th of this year. And they had 1.8 million. And also Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition also did 1.8 million. So they did pretty good over the last year and a half with the two games they released. And I don't think it took Xenoblade Chronicles 2 a while to get to 2 million. I know it's 2 million because we heard about it before, but we'll actually see it on this list in a second. But yeah, that's the fastest selling Xenoblade Chronicles game they ever had. So continuing the trend of Xenoblade will definitely continue. It's been a comfortable spot. But that was fast, and this is only till June 30th, people. So a lot of this stuff is probably a little bit higher now. So then we see Octopath Traveler. I kind of figured Octopath Traveler did pretty well, and a lot of this stuff I think is without digital. I'm not mistaken. I have to look at the document again, but we're just going to assume it's digital in it. But I don't think digital is in this document. Big Brain Academy, Pokemon just sells anything. So we're going to go ahead and slide this down to Xenoblade and figure the rest of this out. So Captain Toad Treasure Tracker and Pikmin 3 Deluxe, both over 2 million. Both over 2 million. That's crazy to me. That's insane. Like, people didn't give a damn about those two games on the Wii U, and they did tremendously better on the Switch. That's crazy. A lot of people shitting on Strikers, but y'all bought it 2.5. There go Xenoblade Chronicles 2 at 2.7. So you see the difference here, like how quicker Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is selling compared to Xenoblade Chronicles 2. That's showing us that the popularity of Xenoblade is absolutely increasing before our eyes. And the fact that they have 3 games that are basically sold over 2 million apiece from Monolith Soft. That is incredible. That is great. That is really great for them in that franchise. I love it. I always wanted to know how much ARMS sold, and now we know 2.7 million. And then we have Metroid Dread, the game people really thought wasn't really even going to sell a million copies either. Metroid Dread selling 3 million since its launch. This leaked a couple of days before this came out, so that's great. That's a 2D Metroid game. And the fact that Metroid Remastered, which you already saw down at the bottom, around 60, already sold over a million, is showing that Metroid obviously has gotten more popular as well. So it's it's looking pretty good for a lot of these franchises that people was really worried about. You know, Metroid Dread doing that is crazy. Yoshi's Crafted World sold over 3. I want to slap the hell out of you. At 4 million. And of course, I got to talk about my baby, which is Fire Emblem Three Houses, doing 4 million. That is great. I believe that's I think that is the best-selling Fire Emblem game ever. I don't know where Awakening was close to that, but Fire Emblem Three Houses selling 4 million. That is incredible. I love that because that's my favorite Fire Emblem game. Engage was alright, but Three Houses is definitely where it's at. Good to see that for Fire Emblem. So we're gonna go ahead and scroll the rest of these down. And it's crazy that it was even 62 of these games. Like I think that's incredible. Then we got the Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD. It's Zelda. I wasn't surprised. And then Kirby Star Allies sold over 4 million. See, Kirby in the Forgotten Land sold over 6 million. I always wondered why they always put out these Kirby games because you really don't hear much about the sales of them. But apparently, y'all like Kirby. Y'all like that whack ass Puff, that whack ass, ugly ass, Jigglypuff ripoff. Y'all like that pink thing. I had no clue. But Kirby was on here at least 4 times on this list, so I see why they keep throwing out Kirby games. I did not know DK Country Tropical Freeze did over 4 million on the Switch. That's insane. Link's Awakening, not pretty much. Clubhouse Games 51. I actually have that game on my Switch. So I guess a lot of people bought that game. Like I bought that game. I bought that Clubhouse Game 51. That's crazy. A lot of people bought that. Super Mario Maker, Super Mario 3D All Stars, Nintendo Switch Sports sold 9 million. Mario Party Superstars 10. Splatoon 3 at damn near 11 million. It's crazy. Splatoon. That's just crazy. 11 million people bought Super Mario 3D World. Do y'all remember what Super Mario 3D World did on the Wii U? That's damn near 3 times the people buying this game. That's crazy. That's crazy. And the Splatoon franchise is kind of crazy. You had Splatoon 2 that did 13 million, and then Splatoon 3 at basically 11 million. That franchise is solidified at this point. Then Luigi's Mansion 3 did 12. Well, damn near 13 is 12.8, so we're gonna just go round that up to 13. That's pretty good for Luigi's Mansion. I didn't think that franchise would be able to do anything of that nature. Like I didn't think nothing would have been able to do no Luigi Mansion game to do anything like that. That's crazy to me. Then we got a bunch of Pokemon games that you bastards bought for some damn reason. Y'all bought these damn games. I don't know why, but you did. And now we're toward the top, which is Ring Fit Adventure. Ugh. And there we are. Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is the 9th best-selling game. You already seen the top 10 already, but it's put you in perspective. They really just track the top 10 for the quarter. The fact that Breath of the Wild damn near did 1 million in sales the same time Tears of the Kingdom was coming out is crazy to me. That's crazy. It seems to me that people were buying both games. That's what it looks like to me. Like, how did Breath of the Wild do 1 million the same time Tears of the Kingdom was coming out? That in that same quarter. Um, Obviously, Super Mario Odyssey and Smash Brothers is now you get a concept of how much these games are selling quarterly throughout the year. It's just crazy. It's like is if people buy a Switch, those are the go-to games basically there that you see in that top 10. But the all in all, out of this whole list, right? All in all, out of this whole list, it's it's crazy to me that number one, there was almost 1 million copies of Breath of the Wild. So when Tears of the Kingdom was obviously coming out, that's insane. The fact that Mario Kart has sold 55 million copies is insane. Um, the fact that Splatoon is doing as great as it's doing, but I think the greatest thing on this whole list here, which I think I'm gonna go ahead and provide a link in the description so y'all can go ahead and look at the rest of the documents and pull this document up too. I think the craziest thing on here is how goated Xenoblade Chronicles as a franchise is now, and how great all the third-party exclusives that Nintendo invested in paid off, especially with Bayonetta, Astral Chain, and Marvel Ultimate Alliance. I think that's pretty incredible. This Metroid Prime remastered, I think that's incredible too, because that game ain't been out that long, and people jumped out to go play that game. So 62 first-party games are over 1 million sold. So now you have pretty much an idea. If you had a question about a certain game and it ain't on this list and it was released by Nintendo, you know it didn't do too well. But now we know. And one thing's for sure that's trending on this list for sure is that everything that re-released on the Switch from the Wii U did way better on the Switch than it did on the Wii U, including Mario Kart. So, people talk that crap about the Wii U like it didn't have any games. It's just that people didn't want to buy that system. It had the games. You just didn't want to buy that system. Because every single last one of them that got released did tremendously better on the Switch than on the Wii U. I forgot Pokken Tournament. I forgot they even got released on the Wii U, on the Switch, and it did over 2 million. What did it originally do? Somebody find that out for me, because when did that game come out? I assume it probably did over 2 million originally in release, but I don't know. But yeah, every third-party game they invested in exclusively to be on their platform benefited and paid off. I'm so happy to see that. It's amazing, and I'm happy to see that. So with that being said, I think it's safe to say that we're going to see a lot of the sequels we want to see when this new Switch come out next year. I think it's safe to say that you can put all your concerns in a bag and throw them away, because this list solidifies that you are going to get these sequels that you want. And you're probably not going to get the comebacks of the games that you want, like Star Fox and F-Zero and stuff like that. Probably not going to happen for you. But looking at the sales of these games, I definitely can tell you we're probably going to get another Donkey Kong game soon. That's definitely going to happen. After seeing how much Tropical Freeze sold on the Switch, I had no idea it sold that much. That was a big surprise to me. I'm pretty sure Marvel Ultimate Alliance is probably going to live on if Nintendo decides to do it. the biggest takeaway for me, the biggest takeaway is that this Platinum Games Nintendo relationship is going to continue because they only moving they only moving software on the Nintendo platform. It's the only place they moving software right now. So at this point, they might as well go ahead and let Nintendo go ahead and buy them out and just come on into the family. Just like Monolith's off. Just come on in. Ain't no point in you going nowhere else because nobody's going to appreciate y'all whatsoever. So you might as well just come on in, man. Just come on in. So, but there was one thing. There was definitely one thing that I did not like out of this financial, assessment from Nintendo, all these financial stuff. There was definitely one thing I did not like. And it was that they gave a projected list of the upcoming Switch games. And to put it so simply, right? There was a certain game still on that list that I would hope wasn't on that list anymore. And I'm trying to pull this up real quick. See if I can find it real quick. Yeah, there was a game on that list that I wish wasn't on that list, my guy. And I'm going to find it in a second. Let me see where this thing is at. So, on that million seller list, right? Is there any game that y'all really surprised of seeing on that million seller list? All 62 of them. Is anything you really surprised about? Or is there any game you wish that was actually on there that wasn't on there? That's what I want to know. But hold on, I think I found it. But Platinum Games, Platinum Games fans rejoice. We're gonna continue to rock the hell on. We're gonna continue to roll the hell on. All right, I found the damn thing. Yeah. So they put out their list of games that will be coming up for the quarter, and it's interesting. It's interesting because it's a very short list. That's number one. That's what makes it interesting for the first and foremost. It's a very short list they have for upcoming games for the Nintendo Switch. But there was a particular game on there that I would have thought for sure was not going to be on there. And it shouldn't be on there, to be quite honest with you. It shouldn't be on there. It's kind of making me a little bit nervous, to be honest with you. It's making me a little bit nervous. Because I don't want it to be on there. I think it needs to move on to bigger and better things. That's how I feel about it. So the game. Oh man. Here's the list here. Now, this is their Nintendo Switch software schedule, first party schedule. That's what this is. And do y'all notice anything that disturbs you a little bit? Just a tad little bit. Something on this should disturb you just a little bit. And is, as you can see, Pikmin 4, that dumbass Detective Pikachu, that Super Mario Brothers, that WarioWare, that Super Mario RPG, Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon remake, that Princess Peach game, and that last game, Metroid Prime 4. Now, at this point, At this point, I thought it was a foregone conclusion that Metroid Prime 4 was not going to be on Switch and it was going to be on the Super Nintendo Switch or the Switch 2. That's what I was thinking at this point. But Metroid Prime 4 still being on this list bothers me. It bothers me because I was talking about this in my last stream. Even though it has a TBA, but the fact that they still put it there means they definitely still have intentions on releasing it on the Switch. And I don't like that because I really, really, really want Metroid Prime 4 to be exclusive on the next Switch platform. That's what I really want. I don't want this cross-gen adaptation that they did with Breath of the Wild. Just go ahead and move our baby Samus on over. We got Metroid Dread. We got the remaster. Another remaster rumored to be coming out. So that'll be that. I don't want to cross-gen Metroid Prime 4. I want it to be exclusive on the next Switch. That's what I want. So that is bothering me. That is bothering me. But I will not be sad if they do show us something and release it. I won't be sad about that. I would definitely welcome it. For sure. I'll definitely welcome it. But I want it to be exclusively on. I want it to be exclusively on the next Switch. That's what I want. That's what I want. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. 100%. 100%. But I don't think that's going to happen because they still got this damn thing listed for the Switch, which is crazy. I don't know why. I don't know why they want to do something like this to me, but this is what they doing. So, all in all, today we understood Switch is a selling beast. It's most likely going to outsell the PS2. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom have put Zelda in a whole new stratosphere when it comes to this gaming industry. And Tears of the Kingdom is probably going to break so many records. I'm going to make a prediction. I think Tears of the Kingdom is probably going to sell 50 million copies, just like Mario Kart 8. I think that's what it's going to do. And y'all got to understand, Tears of the Kingdom hasn't even hit a holiday season yet. So, and we're already at 20 million. So I can just imagine where it's going to be after the Christmas season later on this year, where Tears of the Kingdom is going to be. So that's crazy. I think that game will hit 50 million. I think that's what it could do. As far as where Mario Kart ranks on the top selling games of all time, I think it's number 6. Because that did get released as well. I don't know where it's at. I haven't found that part. But I think it's number 6 best selling game ever. At a total of 60 million. Because it did sell a few million on the Wii U. So the total is at like 62 million or something like that. Which is absolutely insane. I don't know. I can't even fathom that a Mario Kart game would actually do something like that. But here we are, and it has. So, all in all, man, PS5 has the momentum right now. Switch obviously is on track to break a crazy record. Zelda breaking records. And while we have all this record breaking, Microsoft, we don't hear a damn thing from y'all. We don't hear nothing from y'all, bro. What's going on? What's really happening? You know what I mean? But I think that's all going to change because they have a very stacked lineup coming up, starting with Starfield in a few weeks. So I think that'll change a lot. I think the momentum will change a lot going into this holiday season in 2024 for them. But yeah, so now we're trying to go and get into this Q&A session. If you got any questions or anything that actually happened over the last couple of days that you want me to actually comment on or talk about, feel free to go ahead and hit me with them things, you know what I'm saying? Oh snap! This damn chat here. Damn, my chat. I thought my chat froze. We'll see about that. Oh no. Starfield better be good. Starfield gonna be good. I don't think I got to worry about Starfield. If after all we seen from Starfield now, you could already tell. Like when a game is going to be that hot fire, that new hotness, you already tell when you already have enough gameplay. You can already tell. Like we knew it with Zelda, we knew it with Mario, Odyssey, we knew it with a lot of things, man. So you could definitely tell. You can definitely tell. You ain't really gotta worry about it too much. You ain't really gotta worry about it too much. We've seen enough of Starfield to know that that's going to be that's gonna be a thing. Do you think they should make No More Heroes 4? I don't know. Um, Suda has a little bit of issue on his hands, which is I think he needs to team up with another developer to develop his games because we really No More Heroes was really unique, especially in 1 and 2. The structure of the games, the actual gameplay of the games, and obviously the lore and the story and the characters are top notch. It's just the functionality and the modernized mechanics from the games that we expect now of these days is something that Suda51 just pretty much likes to overlook. So that was the thing with No More Heroes 3. Um, Everything was there from the lure to the design to the characters to the story to the core mechanics. It just didn't play like a modernized game. You know what I mean? And we just gotta really gotta get Suda51 some help there. It's like I understand that you want to do everything yourself, everything independently with your own studio, but with all that being said, I think he needs to team up with another developer to actually harness the power of the consoles he be using. Uh, because the overworld shouldn't have been working basically similarly the same as No More Heroes 1 and 2 and 3. No More Heroes 3 should have been leaps and bounds from a modernized technical standpoint than 1 and 2, but it really wasn't. It really wasn't. But the style is there, the characters are there, everything else is there. Um, he just got to modernize the game a little bit more. You know what I mean? It's not in a bad state like the Pokemon company is in. They're just blatantly just not doing shit on purpose. But yeah, I think he just needs to get more. You know, he needs to beef up his little studio if that's the case, and make it a little bit more stronger. Um, and continue to love for Tyrus Touchdown with Nintendo fans. That's what he needs to do, because obviously they appreciate him more than any other than any other fan base. So yeah, No More Heroes have an interesting spot in the history of gaming. Interesting spot. Um, so yeah. I don't know if you a Metroid Prime remastered ain't been out that long, so for it to sell over 1 million and it wasn't even a physical release, I think that's incredible. I have no gripes with that. Especially a game that old for Metroid Prime. I have no idea why they didn't really push that out as a physical release from the gate. But yeah, you know what I mean. Like I was really looking forward to. You gotta understand Prime being released on its own, not actually a trilogy, and we got a trilogy before. We got a Metroid Prime trilogy released before. So the fact that it only took one game and remastered only one of them, I think that's pretty impressive that it did over 1 million. Now, if they had remastered all three, Prime 1, Prime 2 Echoes, and Prime 3 Corruption, I think it would have did probably 3 times as more, but it's just only the first one. So that's what I like. Um, when do you think the next 3D Mario is launching? Probably no more than 6 months after the next console comes out. That's my bet. If it's not launching with the console. So, um, yeah. So, I don't know about how they're going to continue Bayonetta story with Viola. So, we'll just have to find out. Platinum is a crazy company. So, you know, they'll think of something insane as they basically have so far. So it's like we'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes. You said the PS2 sales at 155. Never. I don't know what you mean by that. I just know Metroid Prime Remastered did not have a physical release when it first came out. So I don't even remember when the actual physical release was coming out later on. But I know when it first came out, it didn't have it. So that was a thing. What the hell? Oh man. Oh man, he picked me all like. So that being said, that's it for the day. I'm finna get on out of here. Got things to do. I'll be back. Obviously, if something crazy happened, I'll definitely try to jump on here real quick and do something. But other than that, that'll be that. And I have to leave y'all with this one thing here. This one thing here. Sony, you gotta go ahead and hold that L, bruh. You gotta go ahead and hold that L, man. Y'all getting upset over an ugly ass game that plays nothing like your game, has no characters like your game, and then you gonna go ahead and send your lawyers to copyright strike people. Like, what's going on, man? You know what I mean? What's going on? Y'all looking like Will Smith, man. Y'all looking like Will Smith out here. Saying people ain't competition, and then they are competition. One week they ain't competition, and the next week they are competition. One week they ain't worth nobody. They don't have the same demographic. They don't have the same, They don't have the same user base. They're not catering or focusing or targeting the same people. And the next day, you sending your lawyers over to strike people down. You know what I mean? It seems like y'all in an entanglement with yourselves. Y'all in entanglement with reality. Y'all in an entanglement with the reality that you have two competitors and you do not sit on the pedestal. So, get your mind right. Get your mind right. Get your act right. Try to keep this PS5 momentum on continuing. You know what I'm saying? And we'll see. We'll see what happens. And, best of luck to y'all because, your lineup ain't looking too hot. And Microsoft coming out with that new hotness. So, yeah. Get in line. Get in line. You know what I mean? And, oh, yeah. One more thing. Before I go. Fuck Pokemon.